Okay. Hopefully this is now working. That should be on. That should be on. Mic check 1, 2. Okay. Well, apologies for the technical delay, folks. Not entirely sure what was going on with the PS5. But we are back. Scorpio Super Formula round 17 at the high-speed ring. Good evening, everybody. I am Scorpio Blade. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I apologize again for the wait. It's the penultimate round of the championship. And what a season it has been, both on and off the track. And now it all comes down to the wire as our drivers look to find every last point they can to claw their way up the standings. It would be at this point where I'd say let's head down and see who's going to qualify on pole. Qualifying has already taken place. Thanks a lot, PlayStation, for finally deciding to work. This is your starting order over on the left-hand side of the grid. S2K takes pole over Ryan from Lester Gramenos. Jason, your top 5, followed by King, Ivan, Nico, Philo, Quackadilly, and Lucanyo, your top 11. Supa, Roach, and Rybird round out the grid. Pardon me for just a moment while I make sure that they know I am ready. Sorry. So again, apologies for the delay. I've not a clue what has been going on with the PlayStation lately. Supposed connection issues every single time I try to use any sort of internet-related thing on this game, but for whatever reason, the solo game aspect itself seems to be working, so we'll see. Regardless, we are here, we are ready for 69 laps ahead of us here at what is basically an oval of a racetrack. 6 turns, 4 to the right, 2 to the left, and all but 2 of these corners, or well, I should say all but 3 of these corners are flat out, or at the very least in qualifying trim. Turns 1 and 5 will be flat out easily throughout the entire race. Turn 2 will the slowest corner on the circuit. Despite being extremely high banked, we're expecting to see quite a bit of overtaking happening into there, as well as down into turn 3 as they go across the bridge over the dam. Then it'll be around turn 4 under the tunnel, which you can see on screen here, around the flat out kink of turn 5, and then turn 6 is flat if you're running the high line. Should be very exciting. A lot of bump drafting. We saw lap times under a minute in practice. Should be very exciting indeed as we get ready to go for the race here today. I believe it is a rolling start. This done in anticipation of any potential lag. So we will see as the drivers get ready on the grid. It is the AMS boys up front once again. Super S2K with a hand on the championship trophy. He just needs to finish on the podium here today in order to secure it. Ryan is in a must-win situation here. He needs to win these final 2 races if he wants to win this championship. As they roll down to the start-finish line, green flag is out and we are underway here in Japan for the first of the 2 season finale races. Or I should say the penultimate race, first of the final 2 in Japan. And immediately the AMS boys using bump drafting techniques as they rocket their way down into turn 2. It is S2K leading Ryan as they go down into this high-speed hairpin. Both of them making it through clean as Lester gets up into second, but he is under attack from Gramenos and Castman. Both the Scorpio drivers coming after him. Everyone seems to be through clean so far as they now enter the tunnel and make their way down into turn 5. it is still Gramenos from Casman, King, Ivan, Nico running in 8th, Philo, Supa, Quackadilly running the inside lane, still flat out down there. Roach, Lucanio, the back of that train, and Rybird bringing up the rear of the field. AMS, Super S2K, leads the field across the line. Ryan now looking to his inside as they come down into turn 1. Lester looking to give S2K a little bit of a push. We saw these three working very well together in practice, and now all three of them up front in the race already. But let's not look away, because the other two Scorpio drivers up here, Gramenos and Casper, and let's not forget Ivan. He's found his way into P6. He's gotten around King for that spot. Those three have been extremely strong with their bump drafting technique as well, which saw them get up into the lower top 6 positions. Ivan now potentially coming under attack from King. Not quite going to get there. He's now going to get potentially alongside Jason here, as they're going to rocket their way out of turn 6 again and immediately into the pits. Getting off that soft compound tire immediately. Strategy call. All of the Scorpio Next drivers into the pits immediately. Back up front, it is still Ryan now in the lead. He and S2K swapping positions here as they try to break away from the rest of the pack. And a snarling pack that is. Lester, the only one still within slipstream range of them. King trying to keep in touch with the leaders. Nico now with the Scorpio drivers coming into the pits up into 5th. A lot of contact further back. Everyone able to keep it clean for now, as that was Quackadelli looking for a move on Supa, who was looking for a move on Philo. A lot of action immediately. Fortunately, it doesn't seem we've had much in the way of wrecks at the moment, so knock on wood. Hopefully that came across Mike. These guys will all be able to keep it clean. Lap 4 now starting of this 69 lap affair. None of the drivers used overtake on the opening lap as per our typical rules, and I'm sure they didn't in qualifying as well. I apologize, I wasn't able to check that. I was in the middle of resetting the console. Ooh, hard contact into the wall further up front. That was Quackadilly, and Nico actually got into the wall pretty hard. And Nico has picked up damage from his contact with the wall. We are still running heavy damage, so he will likely need to come into the pits to fix that. Otherwise, that's going to cost him time hand over fist around here. Still has enough momentum to try to fight back against Philo, but that's not going to help him out for too long, especially through those right-hand corners. And Nico will jump into the pits to get off, unfortunately, get off the medium tire. He was going to look to go a bit longer in that race. So it is now Rybird leading, or trailing the top 10. Gramenos, Ivan, and Jason all still in line here as they're going to cycle their way through. Nico still getting up to speed as the Scorpio Next drivers make their way through. All three of them now closing in to the tail end of the top 10. Ivan with a bit of a push to Gramenos as they go down into turn 2. Back up front, it is Ryan with a half-second lead over S2K. Clean Air really helping him out through the medium speed turns 3 and 4. Now just practically riding the wall coming through turn 6. No contact made through it. You can see on the mile an hour. But the fastest way around there is to get right up next to that guardrail and make sure, but don't make contact with it. It is now both the AMS drivers with Lester and King, top 4, all in a snarling pack here as they rocket their way down into turn 2. They're going to need to keep it single file here. Going to need to be careful, and they do manage to get through cleanly. Turn 2, you can try to make a dive up the inside lane, but it is just so difficult to carry just enough momentum. You're going to have to basically pull off a slide job to get past any drivers running the high lane, but they're going to have a lot of momentum coming out of that corner with a run down into turn 3. So expect turn 2 to be the opportunity corner. set up for the move that you want to make down into turn 3. Ryan still leading the way from his teammate. Remember, S2K, all he needs to do to win the championship today is just finish within the top 3 spots. As we look further back, Nico into the pits again for Nico. Oh dear, did he pick up? I think he might have picked up more damage. Or he potentially looking to get back on the mediums? No, those are the same tires he's run the entire race, so I wonder if he's picked up more damage. Highly unfortunate. He is now a lap down. Billow, 40 seconds ahead of him. Last car in the lead lap still. As it looks like... oh no, Super S2K has had a problem. He has had a huge issue. Front and rear wing damage. He and Lester must have gotten into it at some point. I apologize, I looked away at the wrong time. Oh dear, that could ruin his championship chances here for today. They're both going to jump into the pits. Roach, who was on the soft tire, needed to pit anyway. This isn't necessarily race ending for the AMS driver, as he does have a bunch of people to slipstream around with. But that is certainly going to give Ryan a huge advantage here. Not to mention, he's got to wait the the amount of time to repair the damage. So Lester now out into 11th. Let's see where everyone else cycles out. As Nico picks up more front wing damage. You saw the lag there. I think Nico's internet is really costing him here today. There's such a high-speed, close-nature circuit that any amount of internet trouble is going to really start to cost you. And Ryan now will jump into the pit lane, get off of those soft tires. Not lasting very long here. So that promotes Supa and Lucanio now up to the front. Lucanio actually running with damage, but still staying out for the moment. It's allowing Supa to run away a little bit here, and King is now out on his own, looking to extend his tire life as much as he can here. Going to give him an advantage later on, although he'll probably be dropping quite a bit of lap time, especially through turn 4 coming up here, as Nico has retired from the race. Looking further back, Quackadilly still set in behind Lucanio, who again has that suspension damage. And Ryberg comes riding out the field in 5th. He still needs to make 2 pit stops here, don't forget. He's running the hard tire at the moment, but he will need to pit for both the medium and the soft at some point in this race. Ryan out of the pits in P6, now also on the hard compound tire, so he will need to pit one more time to go to the end. And that leaves the Scorpio teammates. Gramenos, Ivan, Roach has actually found his way in between Caspin and the rest of his teammates. Caspin into the pits, that's why he's picked up damage! The first chink in the armor for the Scorpio team, as he's going to pit to repair the damage, and that will be it. Don't forget, it's not just a loss of downforce from these wing damage incidents, it's also an increase of drag. And with a circuit as top speed reliant as this, it is very difficult to try to maintain that gap. King now into the pits at the end of lap 10. So probably about as long as as the soft tire can realistically go without completely dying. Lucanio into the pits now to repair the damage he sustained to his car. Ryan will now cycle up to 5th place. King still out in front. King has managed to pull away a little bit in that cycle. So King, just about 2.5 seconds in front of Ryan, both of whom have pit once already. Gramenos leading the charge for the Scorpio team. Ivan following up about 2.5 seconds back, although he's going to have a little bit of slipstream help from Roach to try to get back to his teammate. And then Lester also running in 9th at the moment, and he's being caught by S2K, those two on the same pit strategy. Philo has pit onto another set of softs, I believe, and then that leaves Castman out in the back on his own at the moment, having already used quite a large amount of the overtake button. Back up toward the front, Quackadilly and Supa going at it still. Quackadilly trying to use that inside lane at turn 2 to his advantage, not quite going to be able to make it work. And then you also saw just how much of a momentum shift there was coming off the apex of the corner to then running out through the exit down to turn 3. Supa really able to pull away despite Quackadilly being in the slipstream. He's now going to look to the inside at turn 6. Not quite going to be clear on Supa. They're going to be side by side. Supa, I believe, flipped the throttle to get in line behind, and they're now going to gain a lot more time sitting nose to tail here. Only about 180 miles an hour, though. We saw the AMS drivers in practice were able to get almost to about 195 miles an hour with a little bit of slipstream help from Lester. So keep an eye out for those top speeds. Rybird still running on his own in 3rd place at the moment, yet to make a pit stop. King running in 4th, your net race leader, and that leaves Gramenos, who has actually jumped past Chung here. Tire advantage playing out, and that's allowed Gramenos to get out in front of Ryan for the time being. We'll see if these two can try to work together a little bit here in order to catch up to King again. King now with a 4.5 second lead over these two. And Ivan's now coming into the pits now, and he's picked up rear wing damage, so probably a bit too heavy of a push from Roach gave him that rear wing damage, and that's highly unfortunate. I don't think he would have backed it into a wall somewhere, so likely just a push from Roach gone wrong. Unfortunately gave him rear wing damage, and that's really gonna cost him, unfortunately. Lap 14 already. Not been going at this for very long, as it is still Quackadilly leading the way from Supa, although they will both likely be coming into the pits fairly soon to get off of those medium tires that they've been on since the drop of the green. Rybird now being caught by King, only 3/10 between those two. Why don't we ride on board with King here as he comes down into turn 1. Rybird dropping to the bottom, going to try to pick up some slipstream from Ivan. Ivan, of course, a lap car at this point. King with a big run coming down the straight, and he's going to sit in line and wait. Decides to run the bottom just to be a bit safe, not wanting to get entangled in any lag with Rybird. This is fresh medium tires versus worn out hards. So King should have a grip advantage here. Although I think he's pretty content to just sit in line behind and save a bit of fuel for the time being, knowing that he's got a 5.5 second lead over Gramenos. Rybird running the bottom, that's going to cost him a bit of momentum, as well as probably use up his tire life a bit more, so he probably doesn't want to do that too much. But King, you saw there, very happy to just bump draft him down this very long front straight. You can't even really call turn 1 a corner with how easy it is flat out for these drivers. Now into the first proper corner. Proper braking zone. Rybird in the wall, cost him a bit of momentum. King also had to lift off the throttle, make sure he didn't get into him. Gonna look around the outside at 3, not quite gonna be able to do anything about it just yet. Ryberg getting very close to the outside wall on the exit of 4. So now they will hug the right-hand side going through turn 5, and now let's just watch him going through 6 here. Completely flat. Not even a sniff of lifting off the throttle. So he will get right back to the rear wing of Ryberg as they continue to pull away from Gramenos and Chung behind. Speaking of Gramenos, tires starting to wear out a little bit. Ryan still only half a second back. Roach now out on his own with Ivan needing to pit. As S2K and Lester now continue to work together to try to claw their way back up the field. S2K actually giving Lester the bottom there as they are look to be doing a bit of leapfrog action down at turn 2. Both of them swapping who's out in front. Great showing of teamwork between these two to, maximize lap time. They are very slowly starting to catch up to Roach. Not sure why King was bump drafting so much. That's because he's likely trying to save fuel. There's no point just breaking his own gap out of, or punching his own hole out in front. Save him, so he can run a lower engine mode, still bump draft with, I forget who it was. It was Ryberg. While he was out in front, as long as it isn't costing King a huge amount of time in terms of being held up in these slower corners like turns 3 and 4 here, hey, it would technically be faster to just sit in line behind and push, even if he's running a lower engine mode and saving a bit of fuel. Even still, he is now under 5 seconds to the leaders, who are in amongst themselves working together and bump drafting. He might have been losing a second or two sitting in line behind, but he certainly would have saved quite a bit of fuel in that amount of time that he was doing so. Again, fuel burn here is among the highest we are seeing on the calendar. So it will be something that all of these drivers need to keep their eye out on. Looking further back, and look at that! The Scorpio boys have managed to get themselves back together here. If by the looks of things, both Jason and Ivan will be trying to help Gramenos claw his way back up to the front, and that will also in turn help Ryan here start to move his way back up toward the front, as Quackadilly and Supa now both into the pits. Neither of them had any damage, so this is a routine stop for them. 20 laps on the mediums, and they are now set to go likely 40 or so laps on these hards, so that way they can two-stop here, and then run the final 10 on the softs. So Gramenos now, with help from his teammates, up into third. Ivan leading the train here, but again, a lap down. Gramenos, though, will need to pit relatively soon. Ryan is set to go for quite a long distance from here still. And I can say, having access to some of the Scorpio drivers' chats here, they certainly looked like there was quite a bit of strategy play that they were talking about here, and a lot of effort being put into by these drivers who hopefully seize what could be their best opportunity at a race win here this season. Gramenos into the pits, and both Ivan and Kasman in as well. All three of them, I believe, now out on the hards, if I can find Gramenos, and yes, they are. So they will be looking to run for quite a while now again. And they have used all 3 compounds now, so realistically, if they think they have the tire wear for it, they could try to go to the end here. Remember, Gramenos, the car ahead, that's Ivan going for a spin! Not entirely sure what happened to Ivan, and he's picked up front wing damage. Let's see if we can catch what happened. Coming out of turn 2, running down to turn 3 here. Does he look up the inside of... No, he just got loose, a little too eager on throttle, and that destroyed the car. So unfortunate for him. He will jump back into the pits. Hopefully he'll time it out where he'll be able to help out Gramenos again. King still out in front, now boasting a 5.5 second lead over Rybird, who is also on his lonesome at the moment. And that then leaves Ryan, Supa, and Crocodile, the next 3 in line. Roach as well has caught up to that train, so these 4 are now working together. We'll see if they're able to make up some time and catch up to the leaders. Ryan still with all of his overtake to use, probably looking to save it until the final couple of laps. Supa has used a bit of his, Quackadilla's barely used any, and the same can be said for Roach. Lester only 3 or so seconds back here, with Super S2K still happy to push him. The medium tire certainly does seem to be the best race tire in terms of the amount of longevity you get as well as lap time performance. But if you're looking to go to the end without pitting, that hard tire certainly looks to be fairly decent, especially if you can stay in a slipstream train like these 4 here. You can see the fuel icon flashing on screen, so Ryan's got a bit of fuel saving he needs to do to make it to the end here. Can't really afford to do it just yet, still 12.5 seconds back from the lead. But it looks like he is slowly catching up to Rybird with the help of these 3 drivers behind him. Rybird has lost a 1.5 seconds to King over the last couple of laps. King, though, running the medium compared to everyone else on the hard. Rybird still is, a reminder, is yet to pit. Everyone else has made 1 stop already. Rybird yet to pit once. Again, he still has to pit for a medium and a soft compound tire at some point in this race. Ryan has used... Actually, I believe he started on the soft, went to the medium, and is now on the hard already. So he... I don't think his tire wear will be good enough to get to the end. But he is in a decent spot to do so, where he has free tire choice to get to the end. He might have started on the medium and still has a soft to use. I'm not entirely sure. As that is King going around... Ah, well, looky here. I knew I saw some car going slow. Both of the Scorpio Next drivers, Ivan and Jason, look to be waiting up for Gramenos to give him some slipstream help again. Well, they're staying off the racing line. That is certainly some dedicated team play to now help the 1 car left amongst their ranks to try to win the race here. Very interesting strategy for those drivers. As there goes Gramenos around his teammates. And Ivan and Jason will now work together to go ahead and push Gramenos to the front, hopefully. Luke and Yo into the pits. Those soft tires have absolutely had it with their performance. King now with a 9-second lead over Rybird. Those hard tires definitely starting to fall off in comparison to his mediums. And then it is Ryan and Quackadilly, both of whom half a second ahead of Supa and Roach. I'm sure Ryan probably would be very happy to sit in line behind at least one of these drivers, try to save a bit of fuel. But if he knows he's got the best performance through the slower corners, it probably would be more beneficial for all of them to have him lead the way. A couple of them in the wall. Doesn't sound like there was any damage done. There wasn't. Roach, I think, is just hanging on at the moment, given his tires at the moment for the time being. Meanwhile, Lester and S2K are continuing to close in. That gap was about 3 seconds, I believe 10 or so laps ago, so they are catching just a bit slowly. And then Gramenos 12 seconds back from S2K. So we'll see if he and his teammates are able to help him catch. Both Ivan and Jason have used up their overtake allotment, so Jason actually into the pits again for some reason. So potentially gonna jump into the pits, grab a soft tire potentially, and use that to give Gramenos some slipstream. That way he's, faster in the corners, but can comfortably sit in front of his teammate and tow him along. Rybird actually, or no, I said it was 9 seconds last time, so he's lost another 1.5 seconds, and there is the next 4 cars behind him. Supa back ahead of Quackadilly. These 4 continuing to run in a train here and continuing to slowly close in on Rybird. Ryan now starting to use a little bit of the overtake button. Get a little bit of extra top speed out of his car, 187 miles an hour into turn 2. That was actually quite hard into the wall for Quackadilly, and it was. Quackadilly now with front suspension damage. That's going to really hurt him through these corners, especially on those hard tires. Roach, no damage, but he's definitely suffering for tire wear. So I would expect these two to come in fairly soon. And Supa's picked up front wing damage. Oh my goodness, it's falling apart for these 3. Roach jumps into the pits to get off of those tires. And that will likely leave Ryan to fend for his own until Lester and Super S2K can catch up to him. That also means that despite the crash that S2K and Lester had very early in this running, they have now caught back up to him. All but caught back up to him, I should say. As they are now onto the tail end of that train. Again, Quackadilly with damage, or both Quackadilly and Supa with damage of some sort. So we would imagine Lester and S2K would find their way by pretty easily. Slowly closing in on halfway through this race. S2K already onto the back of Lester, who tucks out pretty quickly from Quackadilly. Slotted back in line to get a little bit more slipstream off of Supa, and they are now going to rocket away from those two as they set their sights on Ryan. Again, a reminder, Ryan needs to win this race today in order to have a chance to take the championship fight to Tokyo in a couple of weeks' time. S2K, all he needs to do is finish on the podium. if Ryan wins. Ryan has actually lost a little bit of time over these last couple of laps to Rybird. That gap back over 5 seconds. And yeah, I think someone in the chat was right. If the pit stop delta is 16 seconds, King has already got himself a pit stop advantage over these drivers behind him. So King could be on for a very solid win today. He's already used the soft tire to get to this point. He's now spent about 22 laps on the medium. So one would imagine once he does come into the pits, it will be for a set of hards to go to the end. Rybird in second. Lester now into third. Ryan has dropped behind S2K and Lester. I think they have maintained their momentum, catching up to Ryan, and he just let them pass. As now he will try to stay in their slipstream. Quackadilly into the pits now, finally. And Ryan's got to be careful here because S2K, with how much he's pushing Lester, they might just run away from him here. "19 seconds the gap between King and Lester." The medium, both of their tires, or no, sorry, that's Rybird's tire. I was noticing. Even with the slightly higher percentage left on his tire, Lester not able to find the lap time to close in on King at the moment. As we see Quackadilly exiting the pits. Just up the road. Supa now into the pits, gonna likely repair the front wing damage on this stop as well. And Ryan has managed to get back into the slipstream of his teammate in front. Under half a second to the third and fourth place car ahead. Rybird really staying out a long time on those hard tires. As King finally jumps into the pits here, we'll see where he cycles out in comparison to Lester and those who have made a stop already. King will exit the pits now and on the hard compound tire using the overtake button. Rybird has the momentum here, so we could see a fight for the lead here. He has the momentum, but not the tire life. King fighting back with the overtake button. He's going to stay ahead of Rybird. That was a 12-second lead that he had, and he still stayed in front. Rybird giving King a little bit of a shot, going down into 3. But now that they're into the slower corners, that's all she wrote for that shot at the lead for Rybird. Tire life just not there for him. Further back, Lester and S2K, the next two on the oldest tires of the field. Rybird now into the pits. And they can see King up the road. He's only 5 seconds out front. Do they have enough time to catch up to him, even in the slipstream? Officially past halfway here at the high-speed ring. And it is King from Lester, from S2K, then Ryan and Gramenos now back up into the top 5, being pushed along by Jason. Jason on fairly fresh mediums as he continues to push his teammate. I'm pressing the wrong thing. And it looks like S2K and Lester have both managed to break slipstream to Ryan behind them. So Ryan now back on his own. And it looks like that gap is somewhat coming down a little bit. King, of course, no slipstream help for him, so all of the time he's going to be able to gain will need to be through turns 3 and 4 and turn 2. But every single time he gets onto a straight, onto one of these long straights, that's where we see Lester and S2K really make up some ground. There we go. So 5.8 seconds the gap. Once they get out onto the main straight, we'll see how much that comes down by with the help of slipstream. Thing of note, it's actually a tailwind going down into turn 2. So that will actually help out King a little bit here. Will help him lose a little less time to these two as they continue to bump draft. As we saw there, they gained about half a second from slipstream alone, down from turn 6 all the way to turn 2. And it's going to climb right back up to 5.8 here. And then some. Looking further back, looks like Ivan has managed to catch up to his other Scorpio Next teammates, as Gramenos is now all over the back of Rybird. Oh, a lot of contact, a lot of people trying to, unsure if they were making a move or not, as Roach is actually going to go around the outside of Gramenos at turn 2. Very impressive. Gramenos, I don't think, was intending to leave the outside lane open, but Roach found the gap and said, "Thank you very much, I will be having that." And he is just about in the slipstream of Rybird out in front, so if he can keep the momentum up, he should be able to catch him. So Gramenos back down to P7. Supa and Philo and Lucanio rounding out the top 10. And it is back to Ivan and Jason working together to catch back up to Gramenos to help him out. King now with a 6.5 second lead over Lester and S2K. And both of their tires now really starting to feel it. About 30 or so laps to go here. Should be under 30 to go here when they get back to the line. And Lester and S2K are going to jump into the pits for what could be their final time. We'll see what tire they go to here. And Ryan follows them in. So that's going to put Rybird and Roach and Gramenos out in front of them. Lester and S2K onto the medium, as is Ryan. And Supa's going to jump them both on the exit. Supa running the soft at the moment, as he's required to do. So we'll see how long he holds on to that in front of Lester and S2K. Might have been in the wall there. Might have been right in the wall there. Which is why we saw the right front tire heating up quite a bit. These drivers were informed that wall riding would not be allowed. Let's see. He kept it out of the wall through turn 6 there, which should be easy platform anyway. We'll watch him when he comes back down to the second corner here, as Lester and S2K are going to swap spots once again. S2K now leading their charge. Okay, yeah, so nope, for race control, that is definitely Super riding the wall in turn 2. He's not picking up damage from it, but we can see on his telemetry he is not lifting. So we'll see what the stewards have to say about that post-race. Meanwhile, further up the road, Gramenos 17 seconds back from King. Still in the slipstream of Roach. Potentially trying to push him forward. Oh, a lot of contacts. I don't think these guys were really ready to try to tuck out a line. And you can see that's how it should look, is drivers braking, actually getting on the brake for turn 2, coming off the throttle. Supa, meanwhile, not really doing that. Which also seems to be why he's able to run away from S2K and Lester here. Though the other part of that seems to be S2K running a much better lap at this moment over Lester, which has allowed Ryan to get back into his slipstream. So let's see now how Lester and Ryan work together. As Gramenos now into the pit lane. And we'll see what tire he goes out on. And it is another set of hards, so he should definitely be able to go to the end here. And that is both of the other two Scorpio drivers following him into the pits. So 33 seconds back. Quite a lot of time to make up. So we'll see what they're able to do here. As it looks like Ryan has gotten around Lester for P6. As it stands, even though he is not on the podium, Super S2K would win the championship as things run. Supa is still running in 4th for the moment, but burning quite a lot of fuel and using up that tire with how much he's getting into the wall. As we see Roach and Rybird. Making their way. We'll be honest, it's a bit unfortunate to see wall riding happening here, as Quackadilly has unfortunately retired from the session. Supa not really catching up to Roach as well, which is very curious to see. I would expect him into the pits fairly soon here. Rybird running about a second, maybe 2 seconds ahead of Roach at the moment. Both of them a pit stop already behind King, who is on a surprisingly dominant display. I say surprisingly, because I was not expecting this field to get as strung out as they have around a circuit like this, where there's really only 2 braking zones. And even still, you are not coming off the throttle for a lot of time around a place like this. So King really on his own at the moment, both in the lead and with the amount of space out front and behind him on track. As Supa will now finally dive it into the pits. That will put S2K and Ryan up another spot, as well as Lester. And then comes Gramenos and the other two Scorpio Next drivers. Jason's still delivering quite a substantial push to Gramenos. You can see just how much that mile an hour really jumps up with each shove. You can hear Ivan get into the wall further back. Oh, no, that's right, we don't have 13 drivers anymore. Trying out new keyboard binds to jump between cars a bit quicker, so I apologize for that. So Lester has actually gotten back around Ryan here, so we'll see if these two start working together. No, they're going to try to go for the pass on S2K. That's surprising. I think they've, or Lester at least, has potentially decided this is as far up the grid as we're going to get for this race. So might as well have a fight amongst ourselves here with, I believe that's 13 or so laps to go? No, 23 laps to go, excuse me. So Lester now up to 4th. We'll see what the AMS drivers decide to do now, whether they work together and try to break away, or if they continue this battle for what will likely be 4th place, unless they are able to catch up to Roach and Rybird. They're much better off for tire wear, so there's a remote possibility they get to the end here on those tires, but it would certainly be a bit of a challenge. So we've got a few groups of 3 working together here at the moment. There's the AMS group with Lester running 4th through 6th, and then of course we have Gramenos being pushed by his 2 teammates. He's running 7th, of course. Don't forget, Jason and Ivan a lap down, or actually multiple laps down now. And we'll say, I think they might potentially be catching up a little bit to King. That said, a little bit is not going to be enough with... Oh, excuse me. 20 laps to go when they get to the line. So now S2K and Ryan are going to try to work together here to run away from Lester, excuse me. I think race control is going to have a fun time looking through to see if any of these drivers are wall riding. It's with the desync that this game has, it's very difficult to tell if they are actually in the wall. I think the best way to realistically tell is if the left front tire is overheating from the sidewall rubbing up against the concrete in turn 2. Roach into the pits. 20 laps to go. I would expect him to go to another set of mediums and run to the end. That will put Ryan and S2K into the podium places, or promote them to fight for a podium place. Question now is, can Rybird make it to the end from here? My suspicion would tell me... Actually, no, we know he can't. He still needs to pit for a soft compound tire still. But with a 9-second advantage, and only a 9-second advantage, if he can stay about this close, if he can go another 10 laps and still be about this gap ahead, he could be in for a shot at the podium still. S2K now running away a little bit from Ryan here. Evidently having a much better infield session. King still way out in front compared to the other drivers. Looking to take that accurate a victory lane. Might have been a little bit of contact with the wall, but he's had a flawless drive throughout the day, so can't say too much in the ways of that. Ryberg's still holding on to about a 9-second lead. King into the pits, really? Was not expecting that with 20 to go. And he is out on the medium tire. He had the free pit stop, might as well take it. Here comes Ryberg with the momentum again. Does he try to take the run on King here? Two-tenths between them, and no, not going to be close enough. Runs a slightly wider line, but the tire advantage King has just doesn't, Ryberg can't get the momentum. So now can Ryberg stay close enough to King, potentially use him to get towed along and run away from Lester, Super S2K, and Ryan here? Ryberg could find himself on the podium here, which I believe would be his first time this season. Again, Ryberg came into the season, I believe, at Brands Hatch. Missed the first half of the season. Started running as a reserve driver. I think he made most of his starts in the first half of the season in the Super Formula Lights category that we had going. Unfortunately, that series fell out due to a lack of attendance, but a bunch of those drivers have managed to get up into the main grid with reserve driver roles. So it would be a very good story to see Ryberg find his way onto the podium here. 7.5 second lead though, so he's got to be gonna need to find a little bit of pace here. Lester still leading the AMS charge. Both S2K and Ryan still tucked up behind. And Gramenos, I don't know if he's closed in a lot, but he has certainly jumped Roach and Supa with the help of his teammates. Supa running the hards to the end here. Interesting strategy call. Roach trying to run away from, Gramenos trying to run away from Roach. Not sure that's realistically going to happen at the moment. Ivan in front of Gramenos at the moment to give him a little bit of slipstream up front. And then Jason sitting in line behind, giving him the physical bump draft to help push him along that way. And it doesn't look like they're making inroads on these three at the moment. That gap, 6.5 seconds for the time being. As Roach is going to take a run on Jason, that is. Puts himself in amongst this Scorpio teammate conglomerate. looks up the inside of Gramenos, or sorry, no, it was Ivan that he was looking up the inside. Not going to be able to make anything happen there. He's going to send it to the inside here. Roach is actually... Oh, Roach has the tire advantage. That's why he's able to have so much more grip. Gramenos leading this train, but Ivan serving as the Minister of Defense for Scorpio, it seems. Pushing Gramenos and holding off against Roach for the moment. Only a few laps to go here. This race has absolutely flown by. Roach now with the run, with the slipstream, and he is up into 6th. And now he leads the Scorpio train. Little further ahead. The three of them actually have been catching up to this AMS train here. Despite the fact that this AMS train is on mediums. And that gap has been coming down to Rybird in front. Does Rybird... surely not. No, there's still 10 laps to go. And he does need to pit for a soft tire. I think the earliest we could see Rybird come in would be at the end of this lap, but he might need to try to extend it another. Realistically should come out about 7 seconds back from Lester, which would put him potentially at the back of... Okay. Potentially at the back of the Scorpio train, but on soft tires. So he should still find himself inside the top 5 at the end of it. And there he is. Rybird is into the pits. Should be a soft tire stop for him here. As there go the AMS drivers. And here comes the Scorpio train. Does he exit the pits? Now he does. And he will be, unfortunately, off the back of that train. Still a few seconds ahead of Supa, though, so he, with the tire advantage, maybe he'll be able to find his way up to Gramenos and Roach, but we will have to wait and see. But that will potentially do it for the pit stops here. King now with a 10.3 second advantage. I doubt he'll be thinking about going for a fastest lap attempt with a very late race pit stop. So with under 10 to go, can Lester, S2K, and Ryan make up the time to King? They need over a second a lap here. S2K with a lot of overtakes still to use, so he could very easily find his way toward the front of this train whenever he feels like it. Roach still leading the Scorpio train. Gramenos, the second car in line of this group. Jason and Ivan trying to keep up and push him. And then they are followed up by Rybird, who is catching. Despite not being in the slipstream, he is catching. Watch him as he comes over the line here, what his lap time's going to be. It's 7/10 down from his personal best. You're saying he is losing time a little bit on the straights. But he has got some great top-end speed in that car, given that he's running out on his own at the moment. And every single corner, he's really able to take the fight to him. I mean, look at that. He was 6 seconds back entering turn 2, and he's brought it down to 4.8. In just a couple of corners. Rybird, I would imagine, will very easily be able to catch up to Roach and Gramenos here. It looks like have swapped positions because Roach has picked up damage. He's picked up damage. He's still going to continue on. Contact between the teammates as they run the high side at through turn 1. Gonna need to be careful here. Roach is going to slide in line behind them. I think that might have been a wall ride. Although, given the fact he's got suspension damage, I wouldn't put too much blame on that. Did someone just go for a spin, or am I... No. Okay, I'm tweaking. Gramenos still up for... I heard tires squeal, and I got very worried for a second, but no. They're still fine for the moment. Roach really struggling, and he is going to need to come into the pits, unfortunately. And that will include Ivan as well. Ivan not pitting for damage, so potentially going to try to go for fastest lap attempts here. Which, you know, being at the back, why not? And, yeah, so about that potential for these three to catch King, yeah, never mind. They've continued to lose time somehow, despite the fact King is on his own. Fastest lap of the race, too, for him, despite being on the mediums. He has drained the overtake button to get that lap time. But well done, King, managing fastest lap of the race with no draft and on medium tires. Very well done for him, as it looks like Ivan's going to wait up for the Scorpio train again. 5 or 6 laps to go here at the high-speed ring, and the battle seems to be for second place at the moment. As it will come down to Lester, S2K, and Ryan. Again, all S2K needs to do to wrap up the championship today is finish on the podium. And it won't matter if King, by some miracle, has either an engine failure or something else and gives Ryan the opportunity to sneak in a win. Ivan now directly ahead of Gramenos, so he will be giving him some slipstream help. Rybird now up to 6th and 4 seconds back from Gramenos. But those tires are going to start falling off here, so gonna need to be careful. Supa's still running in 7th. Worn Out Hard's putting the purple sector in. Okay. Looks like we have a few drivers who have resorted to the Ross Chastain technique. Roach isn't one of them, so kudos to you. You know, following the race director's instructions. Luke and Yo rounding out the top 10 at the moment, and well ahead of both Castman and Jason, or sorry, Jason and Ivan, who have seemingly dedicated their race to helping Gramenos as far up the grid as possible. I mean, it's certainly a call to make, but, you know, after wrecking out early, I suppose, not the most unsuspecting. Lap 67 on the boards, 3 laps to go here at the high-speed ring, so should be under 3 minutes remaining of this race. And we will focus our attention on this battle for third here. Or battle for second, I should say. Lester and S2K really just setting themselves up for what should be a dogfight for the line here. Ryan gonna need to work to try to get back into slipstream range if he can. Gramenos 6 seconds back, 6.5 back from that battle for the podium. And Ryberg slowly but surely closing in for the moment. But those tires are very quickly wearing out. Still has more grip than the drivers in front of him, but he's going to really need to drain the overtake if he wants a chance at catching up to him. 2.5 seconds now to Gramenos. As now we have 2 laps remaining. Ryan slowly closing back in on this battle for second. Let's ride on board with him here as we go through turn 2. Kissing the wall on the exit. Late braking, trying to hug that inside line as they come through turn 3. Sweeping it back to the left for turn 4. And he's going to use the remaining bit of his overtake to try to stay within the slipstream of his teammate in front. Flat out through turn 6. White flag is out. 1 lap to go here at the high-speed ring, and it will be a dogfight for second place. S2K still pushing Lester. He doesn't want to make the move yet. I think realistically he's going to need to try to set something up coming out of turn 4. Get alongside him in 5 and then maybe sling one up the inside at 6. He's got a slightly better tire wear, and don't forget all the overtake to use still. Lester has a little bit in reserve for the moment. This will be the battle for second. King crosses the line to win the race. His first win of the season. Well done to him. But it will be Lester versus S2K. Can S2K find the run out of the final quarter? No. Lester will come home to take second place for Scorpio eSports. S2K will come home third, and he will be your 2025 Scorpio Super Formula Champion. Ryan will come home in a hard-fought 4th place. He kept his nose clean, but it was the recovery drive of both Lester and S2K from an early-on incident that allowed them to get back ahead of him. King, with an absolute dominant drive, will take his Acura to victory lane. We will have post-race interviews coming for our top 3 in a few moments. And of course, our champion-elect, Super S2K. Don't go anywhere just yet, folks. We have interviews coming in just a few moments. It's you, and then I need to find
King was on something, man. This guy was flying.
That was certainly one of the dominant drives of the season, which I will be completely real, very surprising given the circuit, but...
Yeah, it doesn't make sense how it
yeah.
happened. I'm gonna look into it a little bit, but... do you need Lester in here? 'Cause I feel
I'm
like...
trying to get him in. On turns out I don't have him added on my friends list.
I'm inviting him.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
King
all
left
right.
the party, so it seems like he
Yep.
doesn't have anything working, so we will see.
All right, so hopefully we'll be able to get them in fairly quickly. Other than that, all right. So, I suppose we'll start interviews now while we try to get the other two podium drivers in. I typically start off with our third place finisher anyway, but it turns out our third place finisher is also now our champion-elect, Super S2K. It is official. Championship is pretty much is unofficially wrapped up now. With over a race worth of points advantage to your favor. You are the 2025 Scorpio Super Formula champion. How does it feel, dude? It must be absolutely incredible.
Again, I'm not going to get too excited too early. I'm going to wait for everything to be finalized and whatnot, but if it is, I haven't done the math, to be honest. My brain's been in somewhere else, but if the math leads to me winning at all, it's honestly such a great feeling, a really nice relief on my shoulders. Again, the whole season's been incredibly long, incredibly time consuming, incredibly competitive, and again, it's been one of my favorite series to ever race in. And you know, all the competition, showing up here every couple weeks and racing these guys at such a high caliber level for the front runners, to say the least. I mean, it's been incredibly fun and it's been a great honor. Happy to give my guy Lester a little bit of a podium position, perhaps. But yeah, I mean, I'm just really happy about, you know, if it's official, then I'm happy to wrap it off on a good note.
All right. Well, talk us through your race then. Obviously, we saw you and Lester working together quite a lot, both in the race and then as well in practice. We noticed that as well. Obviously, looked like some sort of incident early on. I don't believe we caught it on the cameras, unfortunately. It looked like gave you front and rear wing damage early in the going, and then from there it was teamwork between you and Lester to catch back up, and surprisingly, you were able to get back to Ryan before the halfway point. Tell us about it from your perspective. What was the game plan at that point?
To be honest, it was just to go on the hard tire, because the hard tire wasn't necessarily slow. It was still relatively competitive, because if you're always in the draft, it's always just going to be fast. But to be honest, the whole wreck in general, or the whole damage incident, was just a very stupid thing. The bump drafting, in my opinion, shouldn't have even been allowed, for one. And the second thing is the lobby was still incredibly laggy. If bump drafting should be allowed, we need to have a better host. Because, again, I'm happy for the result of the race, but to race in this kind of condition was absolutely horrible. Because I can't even run full pace, because if I enter a corner a millisecond too aggressively, Lester in front of me might get wrecked. Even on my angle, it looks like I didn't even touch him. Again, it's common Gran Turismo things, but I mean, we need to have a better lobby in general. I think the race would have been a lot more entertaining had there not been bump drafting, but again, overall the game plan was just soft, hard, medium. Sorry for the rant.
It's all good. So yeah, it's certainly a great amount of teamwork between you and Lester to get to the end. Yeah, I'm certainly, it must be very relaxing for you now that you know that championship's all wrapped up. And of course, like you said, this for a series that started at the beginning of March, must certainly was a long time coming. So congratulations on the championship. I can confirm you are our 2025 Scorpio Super Formula champion. So congrats on that. And go ahead and celebrate it because it is an incredible feat to have watched you all season.
Thank you, Blade.
All right, moving on to our second place finisher, Lester. Congratulations. I'm going to try to pull up the results. I believe this is what if this isn't your first podium of the season? I'm struggling to remember when it happened. Yeah. Yes, you did. I apologize for that. You did pick up third place in Suzuka. So, first podium since the second race of the season. Tell us how it feels. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously we spoke to S2K about the recovery drive. It looked like you had also picked up a little bit of damage early on. Were you guys able to figure out, was it just bump drafting that caused the wing damage, or? Absolutely, and obviously, it certainly played out very well. Hopefully, the stream can hear you now. You might just need to check privacy setting. Was it just? I'm gonna quick question to stream chat. Was it just the volume was too low, or can you guys not hear him at all?
I don't think Lester's been in here since, I mean, last time when we did interviews using Discord, I don't think he has a privacy setting. Maybe he does, I don't know.
It shouldn't be a problem. I don't remember there being an issue at Suzuka, so.
I think if Suzuka was on Discord, it wasn't on PS.
Oh, that's right. We did do that, didn't we?
Lester, I remember everything you just said.
Well, that's unfortunate. Well, all right. Well, while we wait on Lester to hopefully sort out whatever the issue was, King, are you there? Can we hear you? Third time lucky, potentially. Okay, we can hear King finally. Hopefully, no, hang on, give me a minute. Let me make sure that the stream can actually hear you. Hang on a second. This might be a first, folks. All right, King, can you say something for me? All right, you're a little bit quiet, but. No, I don't think you're coming across stream, unfortunately.
That's also unfortunate.
So it might be I don't know if it's a privacy setting or just whatever the thing is, annoyingly.
You could just relay kind of what he's saying, Blade, or I can relay what he's saying, and I can kind of say.
Yeah, true.
If people want to know what he's saying.
True. All right. So I guess we'll move on to you, King. Obviously, we've had a few instances now, the past few races, where we've tried to have interviews with you. So we're going to get quite a lot of it out of the way now. Podium at both Watkins Glen, Suzuka, and now here. So 3 starts, 3 podium positions each time you've gained a spot. It was a 3rd place at Watkins, a 2nd at Interlagos, and now a race win here. Tell us, it must. How much work goes on behind the scenes that you've been able to rock up and immediately show some incredibly strong pace in this series? All right,
So
a lot of experience in hooking it up. I've got it, S2K, but I appreciate it.
no problem, man.
Lots of experience and familiar with the car. So tell us about here. Obviously, very unique track in that a lot of time on the throttle. How much of obviously with a 15-second advantage at the checkered flag today? How much of that do you think came down to either setup work or just knowledge of how the car responds at a track like this? So knowledge that the clean air was more beneficial than slipstream. Interesting. Well, I appreciate you finally being able to talk to us. It's been an absolute pleasure, and wish you all 3 of you the best of luck. Season finale in Tokyo coming up December 6th. So it should be a lot of fun. Hopefully, for all of the American viewers, have a happy Thanksgiving in the time between. Lester, hopefully, if the mic's working, we'll circle back to you for one final time.
Yeah, I think it's sorted.
All right. Final question for you. Obviously, now your 2 podiums on the season have come at the 2 rounds in Japan. Does that give you any sort of confidence going into Tokyo, the final race of the season?
It kind of does, actually. Japan is also my favorite country I've ever visited, my favorite World Tour stop. So maybe there's something there. I'm definitely going to have to get back on the podium so I can do a proper interview next time now that I have my settings sorted out.
Well, we hopefully will see you back on the podium at the Tokyo Street Course in a couple weeks' time. Thank you all so much for jumping in and doing some interviews with me. And thank you all, folks back at home, for tuning in to watch. It's been an absolutely incredible race, and we can't wait to bring it live to you one final time this season as we head to the street course in Tokyo. Should be very exciting, could be chaotic. We'll have to wait and see. I've been Scorpio Blade. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It has been an absolute honor. We will see you in a couple of weeks. Goodbye.